Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and thanks so much for coming back. But for everyone out there who's new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer, soda, water, coffee in the fridge. Cheers to everyone out there on the internet. Is it about street photography that makes you want to put time into it at all? Because you're an adult that has a life with plenty of other things going on, and to do anything creatively can be sometimes draining and undeniably selfish, right? Mm-hmm. So what is it about street photography that has you like going for it?
Wow, you skipped right over the easy question, right to like the more difficult, more I love that. Cutting right to the core, because you're right. We're adults. We have other responsibilities. I have a career. I have a family. Why am I taking this time and energy, which street photography takes a whole lot of both, to go out and just be on the street with a camera, take pictures of strangers, and take pictures of things that aren't about my career or about my family? And the truth is that I mean, to go back to the first question that you didn't ask, I was inspired. I started getting into photography about 4 or 5 years ago through a mutual friend, Josh Elsass, and we started working together on a photography project. And I started learning about different types of photography that I found interesting, whether it was portraits or product photography or just general documentary kind of photography. And I happened across a couple of photographers that really did inspire me. Alex Webb, Joshua K. Jackson, Saul Leiter, Vivian Meyer, definitely one of the biggest ones. And I thought, wow, how can I go out and just capture these moments, these feelings, without writing a song about it, and actually not even putting any words to it, and just having a picture that somebody can look at and say, I've been there before.
Sure.
I feel that.
That is 100% like what I was going to segue into, because for anyone that doesn't know you, we already mentioned it just briefly, but I know you from being a musician and a songwriter, and not like a, ding dong fucking whatever songwriter, a very like heart on my sleeve to a nauseating extent type of songwriter, right? And I mean that in the best way possible.
Oh no, that's a huge compliment.
I'm just pulling your chain because you're not wearing socks.
No socks.
You actually probably have socks on.
You'll never know.
Yeah, you won't know either. But anyways, so you are, I don't know, we can get into whether or not you're still writing songs or not down the road. But I always knew you as somebody that was a very emotive and evolved songwriter, putting a lot of feelings into music. And the thing that sucks sometimes about being a songwriter is that emotion that you're trying to capture doesn't always get digested properly by the person that is consuming it, right?
Right.
And the other thing too is that it is really exhausting trying to put your feelings out there for the world all the time. Yes. And then not having it digested properly makes it really hard. One thing that I've noticed about photography that is really cool is that somebody can look at your work that you've done and they can digest this snapshot of a moment in, 10, 20 seconds, and they understand everything that's going on. As a musician, you don't have that luxury. There's not one song that I have ever written that I could play somebody 10 seconds of and they understand who I am as a person and an artist. It requires so much more time. So I imagine getting into this photography and being able to learn to capture these moments that aren't necessarily your story, but other people can connect with it in an easier, quicker way is probably more sometimes fulfilling and maybe not as like emotionally taxing as being a songwriter can be, right?
Oh, very much so. Oh my God. And actually you hit on like 3 things right off the bat there that I wanted to touch on too, because number one, it is one of the most frustrating things in music and in photography. Whenever you put something out there, it's your story, you're telling it, but people are misconstruing it as other in other ways. And that can be frustrating, but you also walk a very fine line with that too, because you don't want to be too obvious with everything. That was one of the, I had a critique in my music from a very dear friend, like, hey, this song's really cool, but it's just very obvious, you know, like what you're saying. Like, why don't you be a little bit more like mysterious about it too? And that's something interesting that I get from photography too, but it's a tough line. Okay, go ahead.
Can I cut in real quick?
Yes.
I wonder too, because I think sometimes like too much mystery in art can be obnoxious. And I think that sometimes if there's a personal relationship between the artist and the person listening to it, they have a different understanding than what the casual listener might have.
So true.
So is this obvious to them because they know you, or is
Yeah.
it obvious in general? I don't know.
That's such a. Where were you whenever I got that critique, and that kept me up at night, Brian? But you're so right, because we're going to hear that from people who already know us and know what we're talking about. Sure, you're absolutely right. But you also are right about it's so frustrating, or it's not interesting whenever you're too mysterious. You lay it on too thick. Especially whenever it comes to street photography. I see so many people who are posting things that are trying to be extra cerebral or artistic, and it just gets lost in translation. I don't know what you're trying to do here. Why don't you be a little bit more clear? So I think that there still is a line, but I think that you're right that I need to keep on the perspective that maybe if somebody knew me, they would know what I was trying to say more. But for everybody else who sees my photo or listens to my song, they might not know exactly. So don't worry about being a little bit more obvious.
Art to me is kind of like the weather, in the sense that whenever it's like a really nice day outside, it usually takes you a little bit to realize it, right?
Yeah.
Like you step outside, you're going about your business, and maybe you've been out there for a while, and you're like, man, you know, it's a really nice fucking day outside. And art is the same way. Like any art that I love the most, it's usually the type of thing that like I interface with it, and I'm like, okay, this is good, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not immediately thinking like this is the best thing or this is the worst thing. It's just down the road, I'm like, fuck, I really love that record, or I really like that painting. You know, anytime I've like interfaced with something and I'm like, this is the worst fucking thing ever, there's always an opportunity that down the road I end up liking it. And anytime I interface with something and I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever heard, I probably hate it in 2 weeks. It's so weird. But I think that there's this kind of like, to the point of what you were saying, I think the point is when somebody is like looking at your art, or if you're observing something that is like super like artistic and like you can't quite understand it, right? I think that it's just like shitty weather. Like, you know, this doesn't make sense. I don't want to be in this. And most of the time when I see a photo that I really like, I'm not even thinking like, oh, wow, I really like or hate this photo. I'm actually thinking about the moment that's happening in the photo. And then I realize, oh shit, I'm looking at a photo that somebody took and developed, or if it's a digital photo, somebody like, you know, manipulated the contrast and the colors in whatever way. It's almost like a Disney movie. Like sometimes like you forget you're watching a cartoon. Like, oh shit, this story is so good, I didn't think about what I was actually like interacting with, right?
What went into making that
Sure.
in front of you.
Yeah, and I think that photography, or art in general, but we'll just stick with photography. So that's kind of like the baseline where we're at. I think that's what it should be. Like, this is telling a story, and immediately I'm lost in the story of what this is before remembering, oh, this is a photograph and a piece of art.
Right.